Hi, loves. Welcome back to another episode of Not Overthinking It podcast. Going into the topic of today's episode, we're going to be diving into a shy girl's guide to thriving in social situations. First, let's break down what shyness is, where it stems from. Shyness, like a huge part of it, stems from our childhood. Maybe your parents were shy and that's your learned behavior. Maybe you didn't learn how to communicate, and when you tried to, it was not well received, and then you just felt more awkward and shameful because you weren't able to communicate, because we tend to think that communication is an innate ability, but it's something that we need to learn. We're just not taught how to make friends. So that's one component. Another component is that you could have been rejected or gone through something when you were a child that made you feel more closed off. Like you needed to protect yourself, because everything that we adopt is for our own protection. We are not built to thrive. We are built to survive. If something is a threat to our ego, then we're going to shut down and find ways to defend ourselves, rather than like saying, that person was probably just being a jerk. We put it on ourselves. This made me really think about a moment when I was literally in fifth or sixth grade. I got the new like Hannah Montana, or it was Miley Cyrus, at Walmart. She had her own clothing line there. And I got her army green skinny jeans, which nobody else had. I remember I felt so confident going to school. I felt like that girl in my Miley Cyrus outfit. And then a lot of people, in my head I obviously exploded, but people or like making fun of my outfit, saying that I looked like a boy. From then, I was so much less confident in my style choices. I didn't let myself explore that interest that I had in style, and because I wanted to protect myself and not be subject to ridicule. When I look back and I could try to pick apart the times when I lost confidence and became more introverted, I'm like, am I really letting something that a 12-year-old or an 11 or 12-year-old said to me, am I really letting that affect the course of my life and make me introverted? That is absolutely insane. But we don't think about it. We're not reflecting in the moment. We just get hurt, and then we adopt some sort of mechanism without questioning our decisions. So I want you to go ahead and reflect back. I don't care how many instances you have to reflect on. When was it that you became more shy, more closed off? Think back, because unless you feel like there was never a time when you were outgoing or confident, that's kind of different. That could also be how I mentioned, you kind of just grew up watching other people behave that way in social situations and you didn't learn how to communicate. That's something that we also can work through and learn. But if you remember a time when you were younger, you had way more confidence, what happened after that to where you lost that confidence? Even just identifying that moment can make you realize that we can change the way we cope with things, and we can reframe the situation in our head. You can literally heal your inner child, which is something that I've just recently been discovering, because I didn't think that it was all that necessary. But if you can identify moments, so in my situation, when I was wearing the army pants, I can literally heal that part of me that feels shameful. I can say, Elisabeth, I am so proud that you decided to wear whatever the heck you wanted to wear and you wanted to express yourself that way. I'm so proud of you. And then that helps me now move forward. So yeah, identifying moments in your childhood. Another one, shyness due to the fear of how people are perceiving us. Some people feel like they have to put themselves out there and they have to be more outgoing in order to survive and be accepted by a group. And then there's other people, the shy people, who feel like they need to be more reserved and have their walls up to protect themselves. And so there's just two different ways of coping, but we all want essentially the same thing, which is to belong to a group and to be accepted for who we are. How people perceive us is definitely something that the shy girls struggle with, I think, the most. You cannot control what anyone thinks of you. So there's a couple elements to this. One, we tend to assume the worst in people, which is so unfair for the other person. If you've ever stood up in front of your class and you had to give a presentation or even just ask a question, and you are assuming that all the people in the room are judging you and thinking something rude about you, that is not fair to those people. Do not make assumptions about what other people are thinking. We're not giving people the benefit of the doubt. So let's just start assuming the best in people. In the reverse case, maybe when you talk to someone, you think that they're thinking something mean about you, but then they could be fearful of what you're thinking about them. There was one time when I was coaching in my class and I was a pretty new coach, so I was 1,000% in my head. Like, I was spotting this girl who was doing overhead press. I felt a vibe from her. Like, I just felt like she didn't want me to be there, but I needed to spot her. So I was really in my head. And then she goes, "Oh my gosh, I did not put on deodorant. I'm so sorry if I smelled." Everyone is just so in their own head in social situations. Most of the time, people are thinking nice things. They're thinking about something stressful in their lives, or they are thinking about how you're thinking of them. I want to kind of go into some tangible tips for becoming more confident in social situations. Number one, practice and have like a little ritual. When I was first going to my gym, it's a private gym, all girls, everyone's strong and beautiful. I was so nervous, but I really wanted to go. So every time in the car, I would have a ritual. I would literally do a prayer. I would say, "God, please help me overcome my social anxiety today. I hope that I have a good conversation." It just gave me a little bit more peace going in there, and it gave me almost like a pep talk. I'm like, okay, it's out of my hands. Like, God's got me. I put my intentions out there. So having a ritual, whether it's that short little prayer or you're rehearsing before you go into this situation, so like you got invited to a group hangout, you can kind of think about questions that you want to ask, or just as simply as how you're going to introduce yourself when you walk in. How are you going to walk through that room and practice it? So you could prepare for someone to ask you what you do or a little bit about yourself. Like, have that statement ready and practice it, because the more you practice it, the more comfortable it will start to flow when the time comes. So if you're in a group situation, especially being shy, like at least for me, my power is with one-on-one interactions. So now, like, even though I coach and I lead a class of say like 14 girls, I still try to make my rounds and go up to every single girl, ask them how their day was, what plans that they have, how are they feeling that day, you know what I mean? So that I can at least have a little bit more comfortability in that one-on-one. And then when it comes time for the group, it's less intimidating. And I even did that at my gym, where I would like reach out to girls one-on-one, and that way I can at least start to have people I know to go up to, and then over time I can talk to more and more people. Practicing, preparing, doing your ritual, going up to people one-on-one, it can be your power. Even just looking at books. I watched this public speaking TED Talk. One of the things the guy was saying was, we need to just view things as a conversation rather than you're on the stage and you have the mic and everything you say holds so much weight. Just make it a conversation. Ask questions that are open-ended. Avoid yes or no questions. Today I asked my hairdresser. That's one of the things. When I'm at the hairdresser, I'm like, this is going to be like a 2-hour sit down. I mean, it's not super awkward. I just don't know her that well, but I asked about her dog and she talked about her dog for like literally the whole 2 hours. Ask open-ended questions, be genuine about them. People also love to show pictures, like be genuinely interested in other people. Try to get out of your head as much as possible. As shy people, we kind of like are in a conversation and we're like, what should I say next? And they're not even finished talking. Like, we should just really absorb what they said. And even if you need buffer room to like have a response, you could just repeat back what they said in a different way. So it's like, wow, if they were talking about how they are getting a new job and a little bit nervous about that, you could be like, wow, I really admire how you are putting yourself out there and getting a new job because of how you felt a little bit stagnant in your old job. That's really respectable. So being responsive in the conversation, being present, calming down, like whatever you need to do to have even just relaxed energy. Literally, our brains are so powerful. If you are standing with your hands in a fist, your brain will think that you're stressed out, even though you weren't necessarily stressed before. So relax your body. Okay, with that, we're just going to wrap up what we discussed today and the tips for success in conversations as a shy girl. Number one, prepare yourself. You can rehearse a little bit. Have some backup questions in the back of your pocket. Have a little mantra that you say before you enter social situations. If you are more powerful in one-on-ones, then make the effort to reach out to people on individual levels so that you can feel more comfortable once you get into the group setting. Also, conversations are not meant to put you on the mic and have it be super scary. People are not thinking about you or judging you as hard as you think. So relax, get into a calm posture, and make it a conversation. Be responsive, listen curiously to what that person is saying, and then give genuine responses. I hope that this helped you. I definitely, like I said, I know how it feels to be in that position, and I still am working through it, but I hope that these tips that helped me help you as well. And until next week, see you.